Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will be going through how to use the voice notes. So it's time to put everything we've configured and the benefits that we've outlined into practice. So this will be an interesting video. We will go through the 6 steps of how to use the voice notes, and I hope you enjoy and benefit a lot from these. But before we talk about how to use the voice notes, I want to take a quick moment to talk about when to use the voice notes. So here I've separated a quick list with a couple of possibilities, and some of them are related to places or moments in your life, and others are more of an internal trigger as to what's going on in your mind. What are you doing more intellectually? So let's look at these one by one. So a couple of the environmental triggers could be driving a car or walking in nature. These are a couple of ones we've mentioned before. You could be lying down in your living room. These are a couple of places where you can be, but these are also moments when you are at each of these places. A couple of ones that are more internal could be whenever you are contemplating a situation, right? So you can use this as a journaling tool, as a self-reflection to evaluate a situation. It could be an internal with a relationship, could be situation at work, could be several different possibilities. Another interesting possibility is to capture excerpts from videos or lessons that you are watching, such that you can collect the transcript of something you've heard and add it to your Tana with the proper structure. A couple of other examples could be outlining and writing a piece of content, so you could brainstorm ideas into a voice note and then take a look at them and organize them later on. You could also, this one is quite interesting, you can look at your desktop notes and capture a voice note by reflecting on what you're seeing and basically adding a new layer into what notes you already have, right? So this is to illustrate that there are several different ways that we can use voice notes in our lives. And the last one there is a morning routine. So you can make it a habit of creating a voice note to reflect on something in your life, and then you can pick several different options on what to reflect to in your morning routine. And you can, of course, check the complete list in the template. This is also in the instructions tab. It's called When to Use Voice Notes in the explanations. So these are a couple of moments in which you can use voice notes. Now I want to go through the workflow for using voice notes. And this goes from the beginning where you capture your voice notes up until the end where you reutilize these notes into your work. So the list is as follows. First is to capture your voice note. Then you need to add the voice note super tag to the voice recording. Third step is to connect the voice note to the super folders. And don't worry, we will talk about this in a second. Fourth is to run AI commands to generate the structured knowledge for you. Then fifth is to visualize your notes to better understand your thoughts and your ideas regarding the voice note you've just captured or captured in the past. And sixth is to reutilize these notes into your work. So let's take a look at all of them one by one. But before, I want to make a quick comment here. If you are familiar with Tiago Forte's methodology for the code method, you will be familiarized with how these are structured, right? Because this follows a similar pattern where you capture the voice notes, then you organize them, which is the part of adding the tag and connecting it to other places. Then you are distilling that voice note by running AI commands on it. And then there's this fifth, let's say fifth, because it's not in the four original ones, fifth step, which is to retrieve And this is something that I consider to be super important. You must first retrieve something in order to be able to express an idea with your notes. So these steps number 5 and 6 are related to this retrieval process, where you are looking at something and then you can do something with it, right? So whenever you reutilize your notes into your work, then you can express something based on that information. So this is just to give you a context as to how this is structured. Now let's go to step number 1, capture your voice note. This is super simple. Everything you need to do is speak into a voice note recording. You can do this in the Tana mobile app. You can do this in the Tana desktop app. In the mobile app, it's super simple. You just open the app. You're usually going to be sent directly into the capture section. All you need to do is select voice. Then you're going to record your voice note, and then you're going to hit send. On the desktop app, it's slightly more complicated, but it's still quite simple. You basically need to run 2 commands, which is to capture the voice memo and then stop voice capture. And in order to run these commands, you must open the command line, as we've seen in the previous video, and then type and select each of these respective commands. And then, of course, in the middle, you're going to speak and record the voice note as you would do in the Tana mobile. Now, this is it for the capture. Whenever you're capturing, there are a couple of recommendations that you can keep in mind. First one is to feel free to record long voice notes. I really love these. I've captured voice notes that are extremely long, and AI has always been able to help me with them and to organize them into the different structures and knowledge organizations that we have. Next is that AI commands work best when the voice note follows an overarching topic. And by overarching, it's just this idea that things should be somehow connected, right? I know I've mentioned that you can quickly capture insights and swap and change subjects, but these are usually following connections, right? So you're talking about topic A, and then you swap to topic B, which is connected, right, to what you were talking previously. Or you might do a weekly review where you are talking about several different things, but they're all connected by this overarching topic of a weekly review, right? So this is what I mean, right? You should try to group voice notes. And by group, I mean in one voice note, you should group ideas that are related somehow, right? So if you completely change the subject, I would usually stop the voice recording and then start a new one. Now, these are the recommendations. Now, let's go to step number 2. And this is to add the tag voice note. So when you add the voice note tag, this will automatically do 3 things, which is to save the voice notes transcript into the transcript field, then clean and format that data and store it in the clean transcript field, and then finally generate a note summary in the transcript summary with AI in brackets field. And here it's important to note that the field that's going to be used for the AI commands is the clean transcript field. Now, how to add the voice note super tag? If you are using the mobile, you can add 2 informations to a voice note, which is the destination and the tag. If you choose the destination as the inbox, the voice note tag is added automatically. If the destination is today or any other place, you are responsible for adding the tag. Now, you can do this both in the mobile app or later in the desktop. So if the destination is today, you can do it straight in the mobile app and choose the tag and select tag as the voice note, or you can do it later. So here if it's not added on mobile, you need to add it on the desktop. And this is super easy. You basically click on the note and then you add the tag by typing hashtag voice note. And if you want a tip to make things faster, you can go for hashtag VN, which should work and should select the voice note super tag straight away. This is it. It's quite simple, but I wanted to make sure this is one of the steps here. Now, this third step demands a little bit more thinking. And this one is to connect the voice note to the super folders. And there's this wonderful quote that explains why this is so important. And it's the following. In reality, information that cannot be reliably retrieved is not really being stored. This is by David Deutsch. He's the author of The Beginning of Infinity. He's a physicist, really wonderful mind. Now, this begs for the question, how can we guarantee retrieval, right? Reliable retrieval. And this is where the concept of superfolders come into play. Now, let's take a look at this diagram for a second. Every note, and in this case specifically every voice note, comes with fields. These fields allow you to save this voice note to a specific location. And here's the question that guides everything. Where do you want to find this note later? Because according to the answer to this question, you will choose the values inside these fields. Now, each of these three fields is configured with a super tag. In order, they are the area, the project, and the contemplation. Now, these super tags, they represent the folder categories in Tana. And why do folders have categories? Because they are super folders. And the super folders is my unique way of describing this entire process of saving information in Tana because it matches with the super tags, right? So the super tags, they create these categories, which are the area, project, and the contemplation here in this example. Now, for each of these categories, as you can see, you can have several different folders. These folders, they are nodes with a super tag, right? So if we take a look at the areas, you will see finances, health and fitness, planning, routines and behavior, self-knowledge. These are all areas in life, and they are objects, right? Because each of them represents an area. Now, they are also super folders because each area becomes a folder where you can save notes to. So you can save your notes into these areas, into these projects, and you will be able to reliably retrieve them later on, as you can see here in this other diagram. So once you connect a voice note to a super folder using a field, you can see here the example with the project. Once you go to that project, you will be able to see all of the voice notes that are related to this project. And the same goes for areas, and the same goes for contemplations, or for any other super folder that you may want to create inside your Tana. So this is super important, and I wanted to explain this to you so that you can safely store your information and then reliably retrieve it later on. Now here, I want to give you an additional alternative other than manually selecting the locations in which you want to save something. We also have the option to autofill. So you can use this command called autofill, where AI will suggest connections for you. All you have to do is click the autofill command that you will see. It appears in your voice notes. And then Tana's AI will autofill it with the suggested connections. Now here, I like to make this disclaimer that it's super important to check the suggestions and not assume that they will be 100% correct. So I would always recommend a human intervention after these suggestions are made, so that you are the one responsible for the final say, and so that things are not misconnected inside your time. Now, this brings us to the fourth step, and this might be the essence of this entire workflow, and it is to run the AI commands to generate structured knowledge. So here we want to extract information from the voice notes and organize them using the smart objects. So the smart objects command is used to present you with several options of new commands that you can use to extract information from the voice note. So each of these different commands will extract information organized in specific and different ways. Here is what I mean. Each of these commands, once you click them, they will generate an output inside this node called Voice Agent Output. So whenever you start clicking these commands, you will generate a new smart object. And as you can see, you can create multiple smart objects for each voice note. Now, when you run a command, inevitably, you will want to visualize what you have just created. So this is step number 5, right? To look at the content of your voice notes. And this can help you better understand your thoughts, understand your ideas, or your reflections, or whatever it is you are talking about. So once you do this, you will be able to see the content of a voice note in several different ways. And here I've brought 3 examples to demonstrate this, which are the pros and cons, the brainstorm of ideas, and the content piece. Of course, you're not supposed to look at them in this size. I'm going to show them one by one. So here, the pros and cons. In this case, it's talking about the benefits of voice notes and AI commands. So you can see there are different information represented as pro voice notes, or against voice notes, or simply neutral. So this is a way where you can clearly see and categorize things as good or pro or against something, right? Next is a brainstorm. So here in the brainstorm, you will see there are several brainstorm ideas. So some of these are equivalent to the ideas on the pros and cons list, but now they are all represented as ideas. And for each idea, there is an AI suggestion, such that you can expand on an idea that you had with the help or suggestion of AI to find a connection with something else, or to find an opportunity for you to implement something into your life, or to bring another idea for your audience, for your clients, whatever it is. And next, this is one of my favorite types of visualizations. It's the content piece. Now, what this does, it gets the entire transcript, and it not only organizes it into ideas, but it reorders different things that you've mentioned such that it fits into a linear narrative, right? So it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it follows a thread where your ideas make sense, right? So this is an interesting way to look at your reflections, to organize your notes inside Tana, even if you're not creating a content with this, right? Because of the type of thinking that you need in order to create content. It's high quality thinking that goes on. So this is an interesting output such that you can analyze things with quality. Now, finally, this might be the most important part of this workflow, because what are you going to do with these voice notes? So the 6th step is to reutilize these notes into your work and into your life. So here in Tana, it's easy to reuse these outputs from the smart objects or even straight from the transcript, because in Tana you can copy and paste a reference to a node somewhere else. So as you can see here, the references have a dotted line around the bullet point, which means you are copying the entire bullet point and you're pasting it somewhere else such that the two are synced and connected. Every change that you make to one of them will be applied to the next one. But since the smart objects generate this information at will, you can usually just add it as much as you like. And if you want AI to generate another smart object for you, you can simply click the button again, run the AI command, and then you'll have a new, fresh perspective. So this is what this can look like. Since you can create copies of these generated nodes, you can copy information from the smart objects and then paste them directly into your nodes. And this allows you to create hierarchies or structures so that you can mix and match information from even different smart objects or different voice notes into a linear, organized pattern of thinking so that you can create, let's say, an introduction, or you can group information based on any category or qualitative idea that you have about that. Now, this is, of course, much easier to see and to experiment with live, right? Where you can drag one thing from one place to the other and when you can move things around in Tana. But this image gives you a perspective of how this can work as well. Now, this wraps up the video on how to use the Voice Note AI agent. This is a theoretical video where I'm basically going step by step and explaining these steps on a conceptual frame. And on the next video, we will be going through a more practical walkthrough where I will actually record a voice note. Then I will send it over to Tana. I will add the tags. I will run the commands, generate the smart objects, and then connect these to the different projects and areas that I have there to show you in practice how this happens and how you can use voice notes in your life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.